Barnstable This Morning, just about 8 minutes past the top of the hour. On this Tuesday morning, I'm Sarah Colvin, and joining me live on the phone, I welcome our Chief of Police, Paul MacDonald. Chief, good morning.
Good morning, Sarah.
How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well. A little cold. It's kind of bitter cold out there. Very slippery. So, Chief, a couple of things I want to talk about today. First, let's start with the good news. I hear that 4 new officers were sworn in last week.
Yes, Friday we swore in the 4 newest members of the Barnstable Police Department: Kyle Phelan, Nolan O'Melia, Brian Jones, and Brian Jenkins. They just finished their academy training. They then went through 2 weeks of in-house training, and they start their field training program actually today. So we're looking forward to having these 4 new young kids here. All 4 of them grew up in the town of Barnstable. 2 of them, their fathers are firefighters. One's a CNO firefighter. The other is a high-end firefighter. Mr. Jenkins, his father's a retired Barnstable police officer. So we're glad to have these 4 new members on the department with deep roots in our community.
Chief, is that something important when you're looking for new officers or kind of vetting the new hires to have that connection to our town?
It is. We are a civil service police department, but we do have the right to call for a residents-only list. And prior to taking the civil service test, we do a recruitment throughout the town. We do encourage the local kids to take the test because we do give preference to anyone who lives in the town of Barnstable. We found throughout the years kids who grew up in the town, who have families in the town, who have roots in this town, who plan on staying in this town. They really are much more conscientious police officers when it comes to dealing with issues regarding the town of Barnstable. So, yes, we absolutely give preference to kids who grew up in the town. And actually, although these 4 kids just graduated from the academy, we just gave 7 other young men and women conditional officer employment because we have a number of vacancies coming up due to retirement for the next 6 months.
Indeed. Can we talk a little bit about the training process for police officers, Chief? Because I think it's really fascinating. Now, does everyone go through the police academy, and is that here on Cape or is that off Cape?
Everyone has to go through a 23-week police academy that's sanctioned by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Mass Criminal Justice Police Training Committee. The academy that we use is located up in Plymouth, and the officers commute every day. We do provide them transportation, a cruiser to go back and forth to the class with. Upon their graduation, they then come to the town of Barnstable, to the police department. We have a 2-week in-house academy with the policies, procedures, rules, and regulations within our organizations and everything to do with how we operate. After that, they go into a 3-month field training program where they spend 1 month on each shift with an experienced field training officer, at which time they are graded, and if everything goes out okay, they are cut loose at the end of those 3 months.
Really, just it's interesting. I think the amount of training that goes in, but absolutely necessary. So many intricacies of being a police officer, Chief.
But it takes almost 18 months from the point of when we first call for the list. We start the hiring process to the time that they actually cut loose and they're out on patrol in the street. It takes approximately 18 months.
Now, are there occasions where people say they want to be a police officer, and then they start going through the academy and then decide it's not for them, or perhaps then when they come back and do their field training, that's when they decide it's not for them? Does that usually happen, or are people usually committed by the time they start the academy?
In my tenure, there's only been one person that actually has gone through the academy, got out into the street, went to the field training program, and he was out actually on the street. He came in and he resigned. He said, this just is not for me. It was just something that it was not his calling, and he went on and did something else.
Indeed. Well, Chief, we wish the best of luck to these new officers, and always great to have new young people joining the force. It's good to have that energy. So, Chief, I want to talk about a couple of incidents that occurred over the past week. I've been hearing a lot in the news about the incident regarding a person who was dropped off at the ER. What can you tell me about this particular incident?
Sunday morning at approximately 7:30 in the morning, we responded to Cape Cod Hospital regarding a unattended death. We get down there, we talked to the doctors and nurses. An individual drove up right into the emergency room, asked for assistance. A couple of nurses aides went out, helped him remove a female from his vehicle. They brought her to the hospital where she was pronounced dead. While they were having conversation with the individual and trying to resuscitate the young woman, he took off. We were able to locate that vehicle a short distance later at the intersection of Bursar's Way and Route 28. His license was revoked. He was placed on arrest for motor vehicle charges. And upon search of the car, we found a pound of weed, probably $5,000 in cash, and some cutting agent that you would use to cut heroin and cocaine with. He was held at the PD until Monday morning with $10,000 cash bail, and he was released yesterday for $5,000 cash bail. The individual was Clinton Brown, and Clinton Brown is no stranger to us. We've had many dealings with him. He is a graduate of Barnstable High School. He is a great athlete when he was in Barnstable High School. He got a scholarship to the University of Maine, but for whatever reason, he turned to dealing in narcotics. Approximately 4 years ago, we arrested him with 800 pills of OxyContin.
Wow.
He was sentenced to, I believe, to a 10-year sentence in Walpole State Prison. However, was cut short to 21 months because his case was wrapped up with that Annie Dugan at the Jamaica Plain drug lab. So because the evidence was tainted by her, he was released, and this is the second dealing that we've had with him.
Unfortunate, and unfortunate to see, go through and be in jail and then come back and go right back to the life of crime. But unfortunately, that's not a.
Well,
it's
it's unfortunate because Mr. Brown had huge potential. Through his high school and college years, he was a gifted athlete. He was a bright kid. He graduated from the University of Maine. He is not a dumb person. He chose to do this, and he had many other options that he could have taken.
Tragic.
It is
definitely
tragic.
The word for that. Chief, in terms of police activity, aside from this, what else is going on this past
Well, the
week?
other thing was, Friday morning, again, the midnight shift did a great job. At 2:30 in the morning, a gentleman, Curry Sutton, who was homeless from Boston, who was actually just released from state prison. He stole a car in Somerville. He lives in Boston, homeless in Boston, steals a car in Somerville, and somehow ends up in Hyannis. We broke into the Friendly's restaurant. The officer midnight shift, they captured him. And as they're doing their background investigation, they found not only did he break into the Friendly's, but he also broke into Sam Diego's restaurant, and they broke into a boutique across the street on Route 132. So that was a good pinch by them. I believe he's on parole for 10 years, so he will be going back to jail for the next 10 years. How he ended up in Hyannis, we have no idea.
Wanted to come to Cape Cod on vacation, something like that. Who knows? A little cold for that this time of
With
year.
a stolen car in the middle of the night.
Yeah, not good, not good. Not much escaping to do when you come to Cape Cod, that's for sure.
Exactly.
All right, Chief, well, I thank you so much as always for the update, and we will talk with you again next week.
Okay, good talking to you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Chief of Police Paul MacDonald joining us on this chilly Tuesday morning. Always good to hear from the Chief, and you can check in with him with us here on Barnstable This Morning each and every Tuesday morning. Next.